And away we go. It's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app. Get yourself that galactic goodness delivered right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or head down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15%. All right, let's get to it. It is Big 12 recap time. So yeah, I guess you got sound in my background.
There was. You're good now.
Okay. Anyhow, Big 12 recap. Sorry. It was. I don't think many of there was a couple interesting results. I don't think any of the results were overly shocking, except maybe one. And that's not because we'll get to it. You look giddy to talk about that one.
Oh, there's a couple I'm giddy to talk about.
Yeah, I get to tell you you're right on one of them. I gotta bend the knee on one of them.
We'll get there.
So you're excited as hell about that. We'll start with Kansas and Texas. No starter, no Jalen Daniels for Kansas, who apparently had his back tightened up or back spasms or something along those lines.
But that was what kept him out earlier in the season, was his back as well. So it's just
we don't know we don't know what
re-aggravation of I'm assuming a re-aggravation of the back injury from earlier this season.
They said he couldn't go like that morning. He just woke up and couldn't go. So that's what I gathered from watching the game. They hung close a little bit. Honestly, it was funny because Kelsey was like, I had to, be a dad for some of the day. And so I walked away and it was like 20-14, I think maybe. And I came back and it was like 40-14. Like I was off for like 20 minutes, it felt like, and walked back to the TV and it was a blowout. So
2014 in the third with 11:36, and then it looks like Texas hung up 3 touchdowns after that, which
so it's 41-14. Like it was 20-14, then it was 41-4. I was like, I didn't leave. I was just here and like thinking, dang, this is a good game. And then Texas hit the gas. I don't think it says a whole lot about either. You
don't have Kansas not having your starting quarterback, the guy. I don't know that necessarily means that Texas is all the way back because you beat Kansas's backup quarterback.
Right. Who was pretty good. Looked pretty good actually for a while.
9 of 21. He finishes the day. Jason Bean. I feel like on name alone, he's not destined for greatness, but it's almost as bad as Ryan Leaf. But Jason Bean here, 9 of 21, 136 yards, 1 touchdown, not great. Devin Neal, 8 carries, 45 yards, also not great. So I don't know. I mean, you muster a whopping 260 yards of offense. You're not going to beat Texas with that.
Right. And not many of them were late. Like all those yards were early.
Before 11:36 or whatever it was in the third. Yeah.
Third quarter. Yeah. So that one wasn't terribly surprising. This one, for a couple reasons, raised eyebrows. Oklahoma 50, Iowa State 20.
I told you on this one that
every other week
they were trending up. They were trending up, and they sure did. You had Iowa State's defense. They didn't show up. When you hang up a 50 burger, that's not anything to write home about.
They have 40 at half. Aaron, 40 at half.
And then they took it easy on them.
They took their foot off the gas.
I'd imagine if Lincoln Riley was still there, there's that he probably would have run the score up.
Interesting here because Cincinnati held Oklahoma to 20. Like they completely this is all in relation to next week. because or 2 weeks from now, however you want to look at it, because of the bye with Iowa State coming to Nibbler. Iowa State gave up 40 in the first half to Oklahoma that Cincinnati controlled. They didn't dominate by any stretch, but they controlled Oklahoma's high-powered offense. Iowa State did not at all.
No.
I know some had their eyebrows pop up at Iowa State scoring 20 in the first half. They did that on the strength of something we have continued to talk about ad nauseum, Aaron. 3 huge plays, like 50 plus, 45, 50 plus in that first half that led to their touchdowns. They weren't touchdown plays, but they were plays where the struggling Iowa State offense picked up 5 first downs on a play. Like, that's, again, the longest plays Cincinnati are getting right now are right in that 20-yard range. You've got to be able to pop some 40 and 50-yard gains.
Mm-hmm.
And Iowa State did, and that's how they were able to. I mean, if they didn't pop those 3 plays, this thing could have been 50-10. It's still only 50-20, but like it could have been even worse.
Are you surprised they left Dylan Gabriel in the whole game?
A little, not like shocked by it anymore.
I'd have been at that point. I mean, once you hit 40, it's 40-20.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The team with bad offense.
I would have been nervous about potentially injuring your guy, but no matter at this point.
Yeah. What do you? Anything you take from Iowa State in this one? We're gonna have a lot of Iowa State to talk about here over the next 2 weeks.
I guess I just wasn't surprised by it at all. I don't know. I don't believe that Iowa State has anything to offer at this point. Really, they're a disappointment. I think would be.
I think they might have found a quarterback. Watching that kid in the first half, their freshman, he had some moxie to him at least. But he had some guts, which for a young guy.
You talking about J.J. Cole, or are you talking about Rocco Becht? They're both freshmen. Rocco. Yeah, he finished 15 to 33, 188, two touchdowns, 2 picks. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, Iowa State, they're not going to ever be at least under Campbell. I don't foresee them ever being a big offense. They rely on the defense, so I don't know.
I'm just saying, you got to find your quarterback. If they potentially, found a little something on the Becht kid, we'll see. Just something to watch going into that. I mean, like I said, we'll discuss Iowa State relentlessly over the next couple of weeks.
Correct.
Texas Tech 49, Houston 28. Texas Tech comes back to life. It was 35-28 at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
So Houston's offense worked in the first half, did not work in the second half. They get goose egged. Texas Tech pulls away 49-28.
Yeah, this is what have we seen thus far out of any of the new teams to the Big 12?
Depth has been an issue, I think, is the thing that jumps out first.
Well, to me, the thing that jumps out first is they don't win against teams that were already in the Big 12.
Well, yeah, but like if you dig a little deeper, one of the reasons that's going to be a problem for Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF is that they had American Athletic Conference level depth.
Right.
And now the other teams have better players that aren't on the field. Like it's the guys that are out there and the guys that are getting the reps and the guys that are getting the playing time. When you're a developmental program, those you need those guys out there for a reason. The guys behind them haven't gone through the development yet, typically. And that's what separated UC in 2020 and 21. Now that's back to average. It's back to average at Houston and that other place that we're going to get to in a minute. Maybe not as much of an issue at BYU because those guys are all 25 years old.
Houston did finish, though, with almost 500 yards of offense. They finished with over 100 yards of offense to Texas Tech. But again, kind of like with Cincinnati, you just see the teams that have been there already continuing to figure out ways to win despite not leading in the stats that would normally jump out.
That brings us to in the bounce house, Baylor 36, UCF 35. 35 to 10, or 35 to 7, I think, at one point. It's a 28-point lead for UCF going into right near the end of the third quarter, and then 26 nothing at one point. And that's a tough pill to swallow, Aaron, if you're the Knights of Gold.
Yeah. You hate to see it.
Mad. Do you think people here are mad?
Well, I mean, I think we've all at this point seen the stills of the student section. It had cleared out. I know that some people have said that it had to do with family weekend, which is apparently a thing that students just don't go to the games on family weekend, which weird considering
family weekend. The reason they have it during the game is you bring your family, you get them tickets to the game.
Either that or they're going to Universal or Disney or who else knows what. I don't know, man. But the student section was very empty.
Yeah. Well, they were. It was late third quarter of a blowout. Like, I'm sure the students were like,
"Let's go party.
Let's get it." Like, right? Let's hit the town.
But maybe you learned something as fans about what can happen
anymore.
Right. This is not ECU. This is not Tulane. This is not
Tulsimple.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this couldn't happen to a better program.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, let's see, their next two are Kansas and Oklahoma, and then West Virginia, and then their November trip to Cincinnati. I mean, realistically, with what we've seen from West Virginia, they could be at 0-5 in the Big 12 and coming to Cincinnati to play in the freezing cold.
Sure.
I think at best they're going to be 1-4 at that point. Now, Cincinnati might be right there with them, but.
And I know we talked about this earlier with Kansas. I think that UCF is probably really missing John Rice Plumlee at this point.
I just don't think he's that much better than Timmy McClain.
Well, Timmy finished 13 of 25, 234, 2 touchdowns, a pick, 6 scrambles, 17 yards, and a touchdown on the ground.
I think he's better than Timmy McClain. I just don't know that it's so significant that, like, it's going to change outcomes of their next 4 games.
Sure. I still think in this one they're probably wishing they had John Rice Plumlee.
Probably. I mean, you hopefully get one more score, but I mean, Timmy McClain they had 35.
Well, and there's been a couple games Cincinnati would gladly have taken 35.
Sure, 35 is a lot, especially when they have 7 at one point, and like you feel pretty good. You would hope.
Yeah,
that was a rough scene. It's you think the Fire Satterfield stuff is loud. You should hear the Dump Gus train in Orlando right now. Those people are not doing well.
Maybe they should stick around at the games.
So somebody say down bad. I think they're down bad. And then finally, Go ahead. I'll let you take the floor. You were way
Called
close.
this one.
I was so far out in left field on this one. I
Called
forgot
this one.
important. I pulled a Luke Fickell. Go ahead. I'll get to mine when you get the floor.
TCU is overrated, as I had said. West Virginia wins 24-21. Close game, obviously. But West Virginia with 2 scores, and one in the third, one in the fourth. The fourth being a field goal there to win it. And that was a 49-yard field goal that won the game for them. That was with 9.5 minutes left. So then they played keep away. But well done, Mountaineers. 4-1. I don't think there is nothing happening with the coach this season.
He good. 4-1. He beat Pitt. As long as they get to 7, Neil Brown's golden.
I would think, looking at the rest of the schedule, they have Houston on Thursday the 12th. So that's after the bye, short week. Yeah. Then they have Oklahoma State. It was not good.
They're not very good.
Then they have at UCF.
So at that point, they're 6-1 with
let UCF get up early, and you should win easily.
Is that in Florida or Morgantown?
It's at UCF.
Okay.
Then they host BYU. So you're looking at November 11th, the first true test potentially for West Virginia at Oklahoma. Before they host Cincinnati a week after that.
Yeah.
Cincinnati could be facing a freight train of West Virginia coming off of a potential loss to Oklahoma. And I don't know that I want to play them if they lose to Oklahoma.
You still have to play them.
I'd almost rather they beat Oklahoma.
Sometimes though, that's the deck of cards. Once somebody pulls that one wrong card,
they all fall. Yeah.
So I don't know. Here's the fun thing, Aaron. This is what we talked about. Even when there's not high level, high profile stuff, there's still stuff that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
when we talk about this, we dreaded last year having.
Oh yeah. Well,
didn't care. I'm caring about these games.
I agree. West Virginia, they won only getting 340 yards.
Right. And Neil Brown's air raid. It's supposed to be offense.
Yeah. So well done to the Mountaineers. Nailed it.
Good work. You got that one way right. I got it. My analogy. I pulled a Luke Fickell. I did with Sonny Dykes what Luke Fickell did with Tanner Mordecai. Well, I didn't trust what I saw, and I knew Sonny Dykes was a fraud. I've been talking about Sonny Dykes as a fraud. And I had the opportunity right there to stand by my guy, Aaron, and go against TCU. And I didn't.
Happens to the best of us.
We've been known that Sonny Dykes was terrible. We've been talking about that for 5 years, 4 years.
I concur.
Bonk myself. I think maybe last year we doubted him so much and they made it all the way to the national championship game. I guess he lulled me to sleep.
That was with somebody else's guys.
Fair. And look what they lost to Colorado. I suck. Whatever. Aaron wins this week. Aaron 1, Chad 0. We'll see you next time. BDP tomorrow night. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!